Now I am going to show you many to many relationship in Laravel. I will show you this from the scratch so that you can understand it very well. So let's start. This is a fresh Laravel installation. I am going to open the .env file. Here my database name will be Laravel. Username and password I am going to give root in my case. Now I am going to close it. Okay. Now I am going to the terminal and I am going to create the migration files. But here remember that I am going to work with the many to many in the case of a table, for example books and authors. One table name will be books and another table name will be authors. So in the many to many relationship, what actually happens? A book can have many authors and a particular author can have many books. So in this reason, this is a case where we apply the many to many system. For example, I am going to create a migration PHP artisan make migration so that you can understand. So create, for example, my one table is authors table and another table is books tables. I am going to create the authors table. So for this reason I am going to create the migration file for authors first, this one. Another migration file I will create, that will be books. So what is actually happened in the migrations, two files have been created. One is authors table. In the authors table, there I am going to give the author name. So I am going to use a string and that is author name. There can be any other attribute, but for example I am going to show you very simply so that you can understand. So I just give only one field, okay? So author name. And in the case of books table, I will give here a name, that is the field name will be book title, for example. So in the authors table I give the author's name and in the books table I give the book's title. But here you see I did not create any foreign key as I am going to apply the many to many relationship. So I will not apply any foreign key system here. Just authors table has a primary key and books table has a normal primary key. These are the fields. So how we can make the link between the two tables? In that case we will just use a pivot table. That means we will create another table or so I am going to create another migration, for example author book. So author book will be another table, and here you see that I did not use any plural form. I will just use the singular form. So from the first table, authors table, I will take the name author, singular form, and from the second table, books table, I will take the name book. So I will make the author book table in this case. So enter. You see that another table, another migration file come here, author book. So I have total 3 migrations file, right? One is authors, here author's name. One is books, here book title, and there will be a third table that actually will not have any model. Model will be only for the author and book, but author's table will not have any model. Just a table will created, that is a third table. So in the author book, what I will insert here, that is from the author table I am going to take the primary key. So from the author table I will take the author ID, his primary key, and from the books table the primary key I will bring here, that is book ID. So actually these two will be used as the foreign key in the author book table, but authors table and books table, in these two main tables I did not put any foreign key. The foreign key will actually be inserted into the author book table, that is actually our pivot table. So pivot table, if you go to the Laravel documentation, for example I am going to show you so that you can understand Laravel documentation. If I go there, if I go here, documentation search for many to many. If you search by many to many, you will see here that tells you, for example, here is another example, that is username, id name, roles is another table, here is id name. So this is actually the pivot table. Okay, they tell that the model structure given here and everything is given here. So in this table you see that from the user table I take the id here, and from the roles table I take the id here. If you search here in the documentation by pivot table attributes, you will see here that is here. So this is actually the pivot table in the case of many to many relationship. So anyway, I am not going there, just I will work here. In my case, I am going to show you with practical example from the beginning so that you can understand. So as all the things are done, now I will run the query and run the command php artisan migrate. Okay, so it is asking me to create table. Yes, I will create table by the name Laravel. So in my php my admin, if I refresh, you see that the new table comes here, Laravel. So this is a fresh new table with these three new tables. One is authors, another one is books, and another one is author book. So like this one. Okay, so this is authors table, this is books table, and this is author book table. Now what I will do, I am just going to create two models. So php artisan, then make model here, that is for example author will be one model in my case, and another one will be book, because these two are main tables. I will create a controller also, php artisan make controller, for example home controller, no problem. So I am going to close the migration files now, and now I am going to open the model and controller. So in my case the controller I created, that is home controller, and my model is author book. Okay, and there will be a route here web.php. As I have created the home controller here, so I just call public function index. I will write my code here, and in the top I am just going to use the model. So models, I have author model and I have book model, so I just include those in the top. So this is okay. Now in the web.php, instead of function this, I am going to call my controller home controller class, and I will use always index function, so it is okay. And in the top I am going to call a app http controllers, then home controller, I add it. Okay, if I now refresh here, you see that nothing, because I did not write any code in the home controller index function, it is empty. Now let's check it, how I will make a relation. So as I am in the author table, in order to make a relation that is many to many, here I will just create public function, which one with the author table I will make a link of the book table. So I will just use the book, you can give any name here. This is as like as one-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship that I have already shown you in one of my previous lectures. So if you do not understand it, you can just go back. This is very easy. Public function book, and then I am going to return, right? So return this, you already know that, but here the change is, in my previous case I used the has many. In the case of one-to-many relationship I use the has many function, and in the case of one-to-one I use the has one. But in the case of many to many relationship, remember that I will always use belongs to many function. So here I will have to use belongs to many, this one. And class will be, as I am going to use to make the link with the books table, so book class. Okay, so this one is for the case of author model. So similar thing I am going to copy, and in the book model I am going to paste it, and here the book class, that means the book model, this will be linked with the author table. So here I give the name author, and here belongs to many I am going to give the author model class name. So author. So my relationship is done. This is very simple. My relationship has done. Now what I will do? I will put some practical information, practical data in my tables. Authors table, books table, and author books table. Okay. So in my authors table, what data I will put? In my authors table, for example, I am going to show you one thing so that you can understand. That is, in order to make my task easy, I am going to put here something. I am going to put some dummy data. For example, I have a book named Java. The book was written by, for example, two authors. One is Patrick and another one is for Smith. Another book I am going to give, for example, PHP, and this book is written by, for example, David and another person, Peter. I am going to add another book, for example, Python. This book is written by, here I can do one thing. Python is, for example, in the second case I give only one, okay, Smith, like this. So for the case of Python, David and new two persons, Peter. Okay, so Patrick Smith, David, Peter. Okay, then for the C programming book, for example, I am going to give another person whose name is Cooper, and for example, the first person Patrick I give another time here, and for example another book is Ruby book, that is, for example, Cooper, Patrick, and I can give another one, for example, David. Total 3 persons. So this is my dummy data. Okay, so I will create the book first. So here I am going to the books table. Okay, insert. Here I am going to give Java programming is my book name. Okay, Java programming, insert. Now I am going to insert here, for example, PHP programming, second book. Okay, in the third book I am going to give Python programming. Then in the fourth book I am going to give C programming, and as the fifth book I am going to give Ruby programming. So in the book table, if you go Java, PHP, Python, C programming, these are the book titles. Only book information are in this table. In the authors table, I will insert only for the author information, right? So what was my authors? Patrick, another author was Smith, another author name was David, another author name was Peter, Patrick, Smith, David, Peter, Patrick, Smith, David, Peter, and Cooper, fifth one. Okay, so here another one will be Cooper. So total these are my authors. So I have some book titles and I have some author names. Now in the pivot table I will take the data and put here, simple. So from here you see that the Java book, that means where the book ID is 1, right? Here are two authors, Patrick and Smith. So here I am going to check Patrick and Smith. 1 and 2 will be assigned to Java 1 and 2 in 1. So author 1 is in book 1 and author 2 is assigned for book 1. Just go. If you go author book, you see that author ID 1 and 2 are for the book ID 1. I am going to assign the next book PHP is Smith. That means Smith is actually ID 2 and PHP is ID 2. So 2, 2. So insert here author book. This one is 2, book ID is 2, go. So here the author number 2, here author number Smith, yeah, it is okay. Now I am going to check another one. Python book is for David and Peter. Python is book number 3, so David and Peter. So David and Peter means 3 and 4, right? 3, 4. 3, 4 will be assigned for the 3. 3, 4 for 3. So 3 for 3 and 4 for book 3. Insert. Okay. So author ID 3 and 4 are assigned for the book ID 3. That means Python is David Peter. So Python is David Peter. For the book ID 4 Cooper Patrick, that means for 4 Cooper Patrick. For the book ID 4, I am going to give here book ID actually will be 4 like this and this, and it will be Cooper and Patrick. So Cooper and Patrick ID means 5 and 1. So here I give 1 or 5 and another one is 1. So I give to insert. Okay. So for the book ID, these two authors are here. Now I am going to insert the last one, that is Ruby Cooper Patrick David. So for the Ruby, that means Cooper Patrick David means 5 1 3. 5 on 3 is for 5. 5 on 3 is for 5. So I give here 5 for 5, then 1 for 5, and another one will be 3. So here another time 3 for 5. So enter yes. Now 5, 1 and 3, these 3 authors will be for the book ID 5. So my inserting data task is completed. Now start working. First, I am going to show from the authors table, I am going to pull the information. All the authors I am going to get from here. And here in the with, I am going to make a relationship with the book. And here I will just use the get function. All the data I am going to pull here, all equal to this. So actually what will be there, I am going to check wall using the DD like this. That means from the author table I want to get all the data. That means from the author table, right? So here start will be here. So all the authors I will get, and from all authors whose books are linked using the pivot table, I will get all the data here. So if you refresh, you will understand. A lot of things come here. I am going to do one thing, that is here I am going to convert it to array. So to array. Now I am going to refresh it again. Yes. You see that this is the Patrick, first one. Okay. So under the Patrick, total 3 books are here: Java programming, C programming, Ruby programming. Let's check it. Java is Patrick, C is Patrick, Ruby is Patrick. That means working. The second person is, you see, array index 1. That means here is Smith. Smith has 2 books, Java programming and PHP programming. So let's come here. Smith is Java programming and PHP. Okay. Now I am going to another one, that is David. David has Python and Ruby. So let's check it. This is Python and this is Ruby. He is working. Then after that, Peter is Python. Okay. The Peter has Python programming. I am going to go here. The Peter is only for the Python. Okay, it is working. Cooper is C programming, Ruby programming. So I am going here. Peter is, where is sorry, not Peter, this is Cooper. Cooper is C and Ruby. So Cooper is C and Ruby. That means all the data are coming here, and you also see that there is a pivot table showing. That means based on this they are pulling all the data. Okay. So now what I want to do, I want to use this not DD. I want to break it in real data. Okay. So here I am going to use the for each loop, and all items I am going to break as, for example, item. So as I am going to call from the author item, so author will be normally shown, right? So here I can just straight call the author. So all of what, so item of what, author. So if I give the name, item name, that means actually the author information I will get. So all the author name should I get. Let's check it if it is working. I am refreshing. Yes, Patrick, Smith, David, Peter, Cooper, all are coming from the authors table. This is normal. Now I am going to get the links information. That means here I have another one. I am going to check like this. So for example, first author, I am going to check it because that is another array. So I am going not to remove, it is okay here. Now if I refresh, you see that for the first person Patrick in the array, there are total 3 items: Java, C, and last one is Ruby. So it is working. So I can break the item now. So I will have to use another loop, and here I will use the item of what? Item of, for example, if I call the here will be item book, right? So for the author book, okay. So item book, as I am going to give here item 2, for example, and in the case I am going to give the book title. So item 2 of title will be here, and is book title, after is book title I am going to show with a beer. Okay, now it should work. So item 2 of title, and this item book you already show. For each item I get into the item book, because this book is a function. So in order to get all the data under a particular item, I will have to use item book. So if I now refresh, okay, I am going to do one thing. After breaking from this loop, I give here an extra beer so that you can understand it well. So refresh is. Now you see that Patrick is the first person who has total 3 books. Smith is the second person who has 2 books. David is the third person who has 2 books. Peter has only 1 book, and Cooper has 2 books. Okay, so it is working. I hope you have understood how to get easily all the information. Now if you want that, I want to get only one particular data. So how I can get only one particular data? So in order to get only one particular data, from here I am going to put like this. So here instead of get I will use the first, and here I will use the where, like this. So from the book, for example, I want to get the book where id equal to 1. That means what is the first book? Java. So I want to get only the authors who have the Java books. That means where is Java? Java has Patrick and Smith. I want to get only the information for the Patrick and Smith. So here actually the single data, right? Or here I can use the data variable, no problem. So let's check what is coming here to array. If it is coming or not, I am going to check it. So go here, refresh. You see that for the Patrick, Java, C and Ruby. I am going to check again. For the Patrick, I am going to get actually author based, not book based, sorry. So this author ID 1 means actually not the first book, it is actually the Patrick, first one. So Patrick has which books? I am going to get that. So Patrick has Java, C and Ruby, right? You see that Patrick has Java, here C, here Ruby. So those things are coming here in the output, Java, C and Ruby. So no problem. So it is working. Now I want to get the information. So how I can get the information from this loop? So let's do one thing, that is I am going now to get for is, or first I am going to get the first one is his name, right? So here I am going to give the data of name. This is actually which person. I am going to give here, this is the person name, and this person has which book access. I am going to use the for is now. So data of what book as item. So here just like this, nothing else. So here I am going to copy this, paste it here. Instead of item 2, here will be item 1. Okay, so now if I refresh, you see that Patrick has 3 books. Now if I go the id equal to 2 here, that means another person. So Smith has 2 books coming here. So in this way you can get the single data. So I hope you have understood. This is very easy. So what I did in previous, that is I called the author. That means author based. So based on author I get all the book list, but now I am going to do the reverse. That is based on book I will get the author. So how I can do that? So just reverse, call the book model, and here use the with and then use the get. So with, here I am going to give the author and I am going to get the all data. So just reverse. So here it will be actually the all of to array, here like this, the function to array. Okay, now let's check what is happening. Refresh, you see that now Java programming book coming first. That means one by one book names will come, and then under this book who are the authors showing? Patrick Smith. So Java has Patrick Smith, right? Working. So another one is PHP, it has only Smith. Python has David Peter. You see that Python has David Peter, PHP Smith. So it is working fine. So now if I want to break the data like previous, what I will do, so similar thing, no change actually. So like before, you will just have to use the for each loop. So here what I did in this case, I am going to copy it from here and I am going to paste it here. I am just going to make it comment out. Okay, now all as item, here item name, but here what will be item title, because every book has a title. And here instead of item book, I will give item author, because every book has author, so author is an array. So here I break this and author name I will give here. So just if you understand this, you will easily understand this. So I am just going to refresh. You see that the Java programming has 2%, Patrick Smith PHP has 1, Python has 2%. So that is it is working perfectly. So for similar case, in where if I want to get on particular data, for example, I want to get this particular book, so here I use the first, here I use the where. So book ID equal to 1, so on book ID, which author will be under on book ID, I can easily show that. So just copy this one, paste it, and like this, and this one I will put into a variable, that is data, like this. So let's check it, refresh. You see that the Java programming has 2%, Patrick and Smith, so it is working. If I give ID 2, you will see that the PHP has only Smith, so it is working, right? So now if I want to get the data, I give here on again, and here you see that what I did here, similar thing I will have to do here. So just paste it and I am going to make it comment out. So as I am going to get the book name, so book title will be here. Okay, so book is the class, so title will be here, and each book has author, so author function I go which I gave here, that is I am going to call here an item, and I will get the author names. Now let's check it, refresh. You see that Java programming has 2%, Patrick and Smith. If I check the another one, for example, I am going to check the Ruby number 5, it will have Cooper, Patrick and David. Okay, so let's check Cooper, Patrick and David is coming or not. I give ID 5, so you see Cooper, Patrick and David is coming. So this is in detail the many to many relationship, and I hope you have understood it very well.